Right, next let's take a fuchsia. You can take fuchsias and you can take geraniums. They're more or less the same. And this is Aster Ficartii. This is all the same sort of method. They're all softwood. And again, with this fuchsia, we just take one of these, and I'm going to choose a nice strong growth. I think this is the one I want. And we cut that off. Now again, as before, we have to cut off this bud and the lower leaves, and always cut away from the main stem, because if you cut towards it and your knife slips, then you've lost your cutting, and it might be a very, very important cutting. And as with the other one, I'm going to take the very top out with the growth as well as the bud, and that will mean that when it starts to shoot, it's going to shoot out and make a nice bushy plant. Take off this here, nice and level. Don't leave any tags, as it will start to rot off. Now this time I'm going to put the same mixture in on just the one pot. Dampen it down. Where's my dibber here? Drop the plant in. And one of my own little inventions, but instead of using the plastic bag, polythene bag, I'm using Coke bottles. In fact, it doesn't have to be Coke bottles, it can be any plastic bottle you like, but I've just cut to little sort of jagged bits here, so this will sit over the cutting. In fact, I've not done enough here. I think I'm going to take a bit more off these leaves. I'm going to cut those leaves by half again. And of course, as for last time, I'm going to give them some watering. And don't forget the label. I won't bother to write it now, but here we are. I'll put this over the top, and then again it's got its own little environment. And when you want to start to sort of wean it off and introduce it to the real world after 2 or 3 days, then you can just take this lid off here, and then a little bit of air gets around, but not too much all at once. And then again, after a few more days, you can remove it completely, because it doesn't want to stay in there too long. It gets too soft. Right, now next let's choose the salvia. This is they're not terribly hardy, so it's a good idea to always take cuttings, so that if the main mother plant goes, then you've still got a source of this salvia. It's a perennial salvia, not the annual one. And what we do is we put them in these little pots this time. Now here's my knife. We'll take a couple of cuttings off of this one. There's one, there's another good one. These feel just about right, not too soft. They've got a little flower buds at the end that we have to remove, as we did the last time. Remove the lower leaves again. Clean cut across the bottom. Always cut it as clean as you can. Sometimes I see people sort of cutting it across the table, and I'm sort of very worried that they might crush the stem rather than making a clean cut. Sometimes you do cut your thumb, but better to have success cutting your thumb than no success at all. So there we go, we've got a couple there. We put these in small pots. Again, this is Salvia icing sugar. So we'll pretend to write the label, but I won't bother right now to do it. And this time, don't forget the water. Now this time, another idea of mine is I save up these containers. When my wife's finished doing the washing, I sort of grab these out of the dustbin, because again, instead of the next step on from the paper bag, from the the plastic bag, it's these, and you can put several in these small pots, and again it just holds them in there for the important thing. They take up most moisture for the first 2 or 3 days, and this is when you must protect them most of all. A lot of people say take the cuttings first thing in the morning when they're turgid, but I believe in taking them later on in the day, and then they've got the cool night to get used to their new environment. So there they are in there, and we just flip that lid over and job done. Don't forget about them, and do not put them in the sunshine because they tend to cook. So where best to go is if you've got a north window with light coming in but not actually sunshine. So so those should be fine to leave for at least a week, then just check them for another week perhaps, and then sort of bring them out of that environment. Just one more thing. If you're interested in any of the plants or the products that we've used in this demonstration, then there'll be a product list coming up in a minute, and they'll all be available from Groves Nurseries.